My son once laughed and said, "Don't expect a single dollar from Dad's fortune." He said it casually, like a joke that didn't matter. But the day the will was read, his face drained of color when he heard my name spoken out loud. I was standing at the bottom of the stairs when it happened, still dressed in black, the scent of funeral flowers clinging to my skin. My husband had been buried only hours earlier, yet the house was already alive with voices, not grief, not remembrance, excitement. They had returned to the estate for one reason only, to divide what they believed was theirs. I watched quietly as my grandchildren moved through the rooms like customers in a showroom. One slapped neon sticky notes on furniture. "This clock is mine." Another scanned the walls with her phone. "We'll knock this down when she's out." Spa room, maybe. Sheaf, not grandma, not her name, just she. No one asked me to sit. Number one asked how I was holding up. My place at the dining table had been replaced with a folding chair pulled from the garage, one leg shorter than the rest. Eventually, they guided me to the mudroom, saying I'd be more comfortable away from the noise. I ate dry chicken from a paper plate beside a mop bucket while they toasted. Champagne in the next room. "She's practically gone already," someone laughed. "Dad built an empire," another voice said. "She just made soup." I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I held my tea carefully so my hands wouldn't shake, because tucked inside my sweater pocket was a document they never knew existed, a notarized bank record from 15 years ago, listing my name as a founding contributor to the family trust. They never asked how the company survived its darkest year. They never wondered who saved it. They assumed I was just waiting to disappear, but I wasn't done, not even close. They believed the story ended with my silence, but the will hadn't been read yet. 15 years earlier. The empire they worshipped was days away from collapse. I remember the night my husband came home late, tie, loosened eyes, hollow. He didn't need to explain. The bank had already called. The investors were backing out. Bankruptcy hovered over our lives like a storm cloud that refused to move. He needed collateral, money, boss. So while he slept, I opened the velvet box hidden deep in my drawer. Inside were pieces of my life. My mother's emerald necklace, my wedding earrings, gold bangles, from the day I became his wife. I sold every one of them quietly. No announcement, no credit. I wired the money directly to the company and told them only one thing: use it. Don't tell them where it came from. The company survived. The deal closed. My husband became a visionary. They called him self-made. They never called me. Months later, I saw the branding slogan, "Legacy built alone." I smiled and said nothing. What hurt more wasn't the credit, it was the erasure. Later that year, when he struggled to prepare for an investor pitch, I stayed awake after midnight and rewrote the entire strategy by hand. Expansion models, market shifts, long-term valuation. I mailed it anonymously under a pen name. That proposal became the foundation of the IPO. It generated tens of millions. And still, I stayed silent, because women like me are taught that loyalty means invisibility, that being the backbone means never standing in front of, until one day, silence turns into a weapon used against you. And that's when you remember you never truly gave up your voice. You just saved it. What they called Dad's genius was built on a secret they never bothered to uncover. After the funeral, the house changed, not slowly, instantly. My bedroom was taken before I even realized it. Laughter echoed upstairs as drawers opened and closets emptied. Someone labeled boxes donation and outdated. One box simply read, "Old lady stuff." They moved me into the laundry room. A cot, a flickering bulb, a towel and a bottle of cheap shampoo placed beside me like charity. "We'll eat first," my daughter-in-law said. "You can have what's left." That night, while they enjoyed steak and wine, I opened a can of soup with a house key. Number one had left me a can opener. "She just made soup," they had said. But soup fed children. Soup held families together. Soup kept people alive long enough to build empires. They thought kindness meant I was harmless. They thought silence meant surrender. What they didn't know was that beneath the loose floorboard near my cot was a folder old, worn, and powerful. Inside were original drafts, legal filings, and proof of authorship tied to the company's greatest success. The next morning, I walked 2 blocks to a payphone and called the only person who ever truly listened. "It's time," I said, and with that, the quiet woman they ignored began preparing to speak. They gave me a laundry room, never realizing it was where their downfall began. Part 4. The will that changed everything. The law office was cold and modern. Glass walls, polished wood, confidence everywhere. My son sat tall, already spending money that wasn't his yet. "Don't expect a dime for her," he whispered, smiling. Then the lawyer pressed play. My husband's voice filled the room. "If my son ever speaks disrespectfully of his mother," the recording said calmly, $1 million per word. Silence crushed the room. The lawyer slid forward, transcripts every cruel comment recorded by the home security system, every choke, every insult, every wish for my death. $80 million deducted. Then came the second folder, the IPO strategy, the handwriting analysis, the patent filings, authorship, mine, the company's most valuable asset, the one that saved it belonged legally to me. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't smile. I simply took the folder and stood. Justice doesn't need volume. It needs proof. They came to inherit a fortune, only to learn who truly owned it. They had 48 hours to leave the house. Bakshas moved quickly this time. No laughter, no champagne, just reality. I walked through the rooms slowly, peeling off every neon sticker. "This one's mine," they had said. No, they were never yours. I sold the house later, not out of anger, but because some places hold too much noise. I moved somewhere quiet, somewhere peaceful. With the royalties, I started a small foundation for women who built silently and were erased loudly. No gala, no speeches, just recognition. Because brilliance doesn't disappear just because it's ignored. They buried me while I was still thinking. They assumed age meant the end, but I was never fading. I was waiting, and when I finally spoke, the truth was louder than anything they'd ever said. If they underestimated her, imagine what they've underestimated in you. Thank you for staying until the end. This is Untold Story, where voices ignored for too long are finally heard. If this story moved you, there are many more waiting to be told. Subscribe to Untold Story for more real tales of strength.